Hello to everybody. I have decided to share with you one of the two most complex cases I had in my life as a priest giving advice, counseling, spiritual direction to all the people have asked to me that. In the case of the nun I'm going to share with you, I have permission because years later I say to her, I think your case at the beginning of your religious life was one of the most interesting cases I had. Do you give permission to share with people in conferences, in talks? And she gave me that permission. In the case of a nun, she was at that moment a lady that has finished her studies in university. She had a great career in the world, and I was her spiritual director, and we were discerning that she could have a religious vocation, and specifically a vocation to a contemplative monastery. When she finished her studies in university, full of devotion, full of wishes to give herself to Christ, she entered in a convent I knew very well, very strict. They live completely close to the world, in a great poverty and cold, not very good food, a lot of prayer. She entered there, and from the very beginning, no comfort, no joy, only desert, only darkness, the silence of God. A week passed away, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Only desert, no joy at any moment. She asked me, do you think I have vocation to this order, to this house? And I say, I prefer by yourself to reach the conclusion. Please. Go to your prayer time and you will find by yourself, I think. Well, a month and 2 weeks after she entered into the convent, she told me, I think I have no vocation to this house. And I agree. I say, a lot of time ago I reached to the same conclusion. Yeah. Because to enter into a religious order, you need a joy and enthusiasm to be inside. You cannot enter only with darkness. With darkness, with that loneliness, with that lack of joy all the time. Then I say, well, this sermon has been done. As soon as you go away from this house, it will be the best. But she spoke with the superior, a very good woman, a lot of virtues, a lot of prayer, and a lot of experience because of her age. And the superior told her, no, I am sure you have vocation. I am sure you belong to this house. The novice obeyed her. Time began to pass away. I insisted in my position, but I say, well, it's your choice. But a new problem began to happen. Sadness. Sadness increasing week after week. I began to be very, very worried because in a moment I saw clearly, no doubt, that a depression began to happen. All the signs of depression began to appear. I insisted, you have to leave this house. Depression is beginning in you. And this is not just a question of virtue or offering to the Lord our sufferings. It's a question that you have a disease. And it may grow to a level you cannot manage. She continued obeying her superior. And the signs of depression increased and increased every week. More than 2 months after she entered, my worries were the worst. Not just depression. If she continued there, it was going to suffer a major depression. And I said to her, the problem is the day you will not be able to go up from your bed. But she continued obeying. I insisted, if you leave this house, you will need professional help and medication, because you now are in the middle of a depression. The superior told her, stop speaking with him. And one day she told me that that was going to be our last talk. It happened to be the last talk. Not only that, the superior spoke with the bishop, and the bishop one day told me that she was speaking with him, and she told me, stop, let that vocation to the superior. What could I do? I could not enter by force to that monastery. I did not speak with her, with the novice, more or less in a year. And one day she called me by telephone telling me that she wanted to speak with me. And she told me that when we were speaking, she insisted, I would like to finish at least until Easter in this monastery. Let me finish at least Lent. I said, you have no strength to resist until Easter. You have to leave now. Our talks stopped, and then she told me, the day of Easter, the first day of Easter Sunday, my soul flourished again. I was filled with joy, spiritual joy. Happiness invaded me completely. And that happiness continued. It was there more than a year, And that spiritual happiness continued even there were some moments of desert and darkness. I was at the church. In the ceremony, she professed temporal vows. And I saw her with a joy that was very manifest. It was very clear. It was something mystical. In the following years, I talked with her at least once a year, and we analyzed what happened. We spoke. I said, I think I did what it was correct. I think my discernment was correct. You had depression. And in a very, very strong way. What happened there? After analyzing myself a lot of, the conclusion I arrived is my discernment was right. And we have to obey the laws of psychiatry. Because there is a relation between natural and supernatural. And supernatural does not make all the natural laws to finish, to work. Supernatural is a harmony with the natural. We priests, we have to submit ourselves to those laws. But in that case, in that specific case, I received a lesson. You did well, you did right, but I am the Lord. I can do whatever I wish. In this case, I press her soul not only to the natural limit, more than the natural limit. And you were his spiritual father, and she had to offer everything, even your help. Her loneliness was complete, even from your counseling. Interesting, this case. Conclusion. Priests, we have to acknowledge the relationship between natural and supernatural. Imagine a person that he says, I have received a revelation from God. I can fast the whole day, the whole week, the whole month, and the Lord will sustain me. I would say, if I know that person, if I know his spiritual life, and that he's not a fool, that his mental health is right, I would say, okay, let us try. But when signs begin to appear against his health, I would say, we have to stop. There are signs, and your health is in danger. Yes, but a revelation, all right, but we have to submit ourselves to the law of nature. We have tried. But this is the moment we have to intervene. That is right for the body, and we could say the same for the mind. It is true that we have the spirit. That the spirit it may be filled with light, with treasures from heaven, but the mind works through the laws of nature. And we priests, we have to understand that we cannot say no, it does not matter. Very interesting, this lesson from heaven to me, and the conclusion is God is Lord and He may do everything He wishes. But at the same time I understood very well, I did right. My conclusion was right. I'm very happy to have shared this episode of my life with you, and I hope it may help somebody in a very complex case of that kind. Bye bye.